So interesting day yesterday, and I thought Aaron Rodgers was very calm, almost surgical in what he was saying, how he was saying it. But also, I think you have to understand you got to take emotion out when you are going to cut somebody or not sign somebody. And that's something that Aaron had emotion in that hey, these guys weren't treated well. These guys weren't. But if you look at these guys, what they did after they left Green Bay, I mean, Jordy Nelson played 1 year with the Raiders and was done. Clay Matthews didn't do anything with the Rams. Julius Peppers. I mean, you have these guys, and I think when emotion's attached to it, that's not great. If I'm using you as a sounding board and you're using emotion, and I think that's where it gets dangerous with how much input you take in from Aaron Rodgers. Pete Dougherty is covering the Packers, columnist for the Green Bay Press-Gazette, USA Today as well. Pete, where do you want to start on this situation with Aaron? How about we pick up where I left off there with Aaron talking about former players and how they were treated. What's the message he's sending there?
Yeah, I'm on board with your take there. I totally get why these quarterbacks want to say in personnel. Rodgers is really smart. He's played in the league forever. He's one of the best players in the league. So I understand why he would want to say and who his receivers are and all that. But like you said, you get attached to guys, and football, you have to be ruthless about personnel. I mean, going back to even Lombardi, he was ruthless with guys until the very end. That last team he had was pretty old, but he basically through most of the 60s he'd tell guys, time for you to retire. Really good, great players, Hall of Fame players. So you get attached to guys and you keep them too long. And in the NFL, guys go from being pretty good to not very good. It happens fast. And you've got to be proactive about churning your roster and moving on from those guys, regardless of what they did for you, no matter how much you love them and how good they were. And so that's the danger of giving a quarterback a lot of say in personnel decisions. That's why you even have a GM and a coach, because the coach gets attached to guys. The GM has a little more distance there.
Are you? Did yesterday's press conference make you lean one way or another about Rodgers playing, longer than this upcoming season?
With the Packers, you mean?
Yeah.
Didn't really change my thinking, but it kind of reinforced as of right now. I mean, it just looks really unlikely that he'll be their quarterback in 2022. But I will say, the NFL is a little bit like a season's a little bit like dog years, right? I mean, 6.5 months, who knows what could happen? Maybe they do things and could lean on him more in personnel than they have up to this point in decisions, at least listen to him more. And maybe they win a Super Bowl, and maybe he would see winning a Super Bowl as the perfect way to leave, or maybe he'd see that they have a really good team and would think they could win 2 or 3 more. So the landscape could change dramatically in 6.5 months. But right now, if you had to bet, you'd have to bet that this will be his last season with the team.
If you're management, do you let the comments just kind of settle and you move on from this? Does management come back and offer up a rebuttal to anything that Rodgers said yesterday?
I don't think I would. If you want to be real subtle about it, I just would do nothing to inflame the situation. He deserved to have his say. I wonder if he felt it was kind of cathartic for him to finally publicly, air what his grievances were instead of having it all, be mysterious. But no, I think I would just let it lie. Because if you're the team, the most important thing is the guy showed up. He showed up on time. He's got a lot to play for. I think he does like the coach and the staff and his teammates. And you look at their personnel and what they did last year, and with him at quarterback, I mean, you got to think that their chances, objectively looking at it, their chances are about as good as anybody's, aren't they?
What would inflame the situation from management's side of this?
Oh, if you disputed any of the factual things he said or his characterizations about not being listened to. The one thing that they might want to defend themselves about is, because they do treat players really, really well here. They're treated like kings over there, and in this town they really are. So I don't think that's the issue. I think he was talking more about when they depart, and it just the cold side of it when guys are cut or not even offered contracts and they've been really good players, like Clay Matthews, and that's harsh, but that's the NFL. That's the harsh business. I think it's that way with pretty much most teams, maybe all teams, and maybe they could be a little better about it, but they were even harsher with Ted Thompson. Now they at least make Gutekunst available when they move on from a really good player. Ted Thompson used to just send out a one sentence release saying we've cut, Jordy Nelson or whoever.
What kind of dog you got there? I heard the dog there.
Yeah, that's Winston. I got two of them. There's a Cocker Spaniel. There's always a danger of doing these. A barking fit could break out at any moment.
Wait. You didn't name one Mikowski or Amon Green or?
No, I like to go with. I've had like Walter and Edward. I kind of go with kingly kind of names. That's Winston. I got Connor too. He's a rescue, but no, we stay away from the Packers for the names.
Did people react in a way with the local jab? Green Bay's not exactly a vacation spot. Do the locals take that personally about? I mean, Aaron is saying something that's factual. You're trying to get free agents there. And no, it's probably not the hotbed of where you want to be if you're young, single. Did people take offense to that?
I saw, one or two tweets, and they actually, I think two, and they both kind of looked, they were more tongue in cheek. So I don't have much else to go on.
Okay.
I'm guessing, it might have bothered some people, but I think people are realistic enough to know that, this isn't Miami.
Do we know what the Packers think of Jordan Love?
Not really. I think even off the record, when I talk to people, I don't get the sense that they're really, I wouldn't believe them no matter what they said, unless they said they didn't like him. And, and it's hard to tell. And he didn't get all that many snaps in practice last year. He was splitting the number 2 snaps in camp, and camp was so short. So no, I think, and they're giving him a lot of work. He got a lot of work in the offseason, and I'm assuming he'll play 90% of the snaps in the preseason games. I'll be surprised if Rodgers even suits up for any of those.
Pete, great to talk to you. And, you got your gift yesterday with Rodgers. I mean, this is going to be a fun season to cover.
It will. It'll be interesting, and it'll be hovering over them all year. But, they've got a good team, and so their hopes are still high here.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks, Dan.
And that's Pete Dougherty. He covers the Packers, the Green Bay Press Gazette, also USA Today.